Hey guys, welcome back for another installment of the Warden, and this time we are hitting on chapter 15 and 16. The next chapter is going to be the doll's house, and if you remember last time, Alice had been sent in to the canteen, which currently holds the mannequin and a lot of other nasties. And she's been sent in there from Sean, who promised to put a bullet between her eyes if she didn't. It was either go in there or not. Right, so on to the next chapter, titled The Doll's House, and we follow Alice. I move swiftly as plastic joints creak. No matter how quiet I think I am, dolls' heads begin to turn in my direction. The ones closest to me, sat on the nearby metal table, have no jaws, and various other features are missing. One continues to stare with just the one eye, a human eye that keeps blinking at me. Besides the cutlery on the table, it is covered in what appears to be blood, as the moonlight lights up the room well enough for me to see clearly. There is so much that is dripping off onto the floor. Dismembered body parts lay scattered around the tables and floors. A naked and mutilated torso is resting on a nearby table, with a videotape shoved into its open chest, along with a set of old-fashioned bronze keys and an envelope. This is not looking good. With this much blood, and it's warm as I kneel down and dab my fingers in one of the many puddles. It means that someone was here recently. But there is so much blood. Can one person carry this much? Or are there many more victims? Well, I'm not going to stand around counting body parts. To hell with it. I lunge for the goods inside the still warm torso, snatching at the keys first and then the blood-soaked tape. Much to my horror, some of the dolls begin to screech loudly. The sound deafens me, and now I have no doubt that every doll in the room is looking at me. How can these dolls even move to begin with? Are they spirits trapped inside plastic bodies? Either way, it's time I leg it. Moving away from the table, I backtrack the way I came into the room, but the way out is gone. Where are you going, my dear Alice? You're in my house now. The dolls fall silent as this creepy voice fills the room, echoing from each direction. A shadow bounces off the moonlit walls as I hear a loud scurrying noise. Reminds me of a gerbil, only bigger. Where is that goddamn exit? Frantically, I look for any kind of escape. I daren't move though, so I scan the room best I can. Seems that no matter how hard I look, there is no plausible way out. Not through the maze anywhere. Above me, I notice a steel vent duct. Following it, I can see an opening to it within the kitchen. That is my only exit now. Have a seat, Alice. Let me introduce you to your new family. This time the voice doesn't echo so much. It seems close by. Turning my eyes to the closest metal table, I see a human hand drumming its fingers off the table. Sat amongst two of the dolls is this insanely tall male mannequin, covered in so many human parts. He has 4 torsos stitched together and 8 arms. Looking more like a centipede than a mannequin, he grins at me with a plastic smile from his ghastly face. Eyes are everywhere. His face looks like a spider, has at least a dozen eyes begin blinking at me. His hair is long, thick, and tangled with baby doll heads braided into it. It is so very rare that one gets to see a woman in this place. They're often killed within the first day. Now sit, little dolly. He scrunches up his face in anger as he points to a seat at the table. He has plastic cups and plates filled with what looks to be plastic food. Does he seriously want me to play pretend with him? Now the question is, do I sit with this monster that scares me so much as the Warden and Elsie, or do I try and make a run for it now? Of course I choose fucking option 2. This freak is going to kill me either way. As I sprint towards the kitchen, a mannequin appears from out of the darkness and sticks out an arm. I collide with the hard plastic arm that is mixed with gooey flesh. Slamming down on the floor, I feel like I just had the wind knocked out of me, but my ordeal is far from over as the mannequin grabs me and pulls me to my feet. Forcing me to sit, I daren't do anything else as the other dollies begin to arm themselves with knives. Around the table there are 15 other dolls. This tall guy must have been the one that the bearded prick called Mannequin. Now that you are seated and no doubt comfortable, why not enjoy a little snack? Mannequin leans in closer towards me as he begins drumming his fingers even louder, his many eyes squinting at me. I did think the food was plastic, but it is quite real and alive too, as maggots crawl throughout the layers of cake. As for the plastic cup, it is filled with some discoloured liquid that smells revolting. Eat, yells the mannequin. I really don't want to eat the cake. Placing the videotape down on the table, I pick up a piece of the cake. Pressing it against my lips, I can feel the maggots wriggling around. All the while the mannequin doesn't let up, staring at me. I open my mouth, and the mannequin leans in closer, his many torsos split apart, revealing a long spine that connects them together like some kind of human jigsaw puzzle. He may as well be breathing in my face, he leans that close. A good thing for me as I push the cake into his face and smear it in. Next I lift up the cup, which isn't plastic, it's glass. I chuck the contents of whatever is in it over the mannequin's face. I half expect him to kill me now, but instead he recoils in searing pain as smoke comes up off his face. I do not know what was in that cup, but I'm sure glad I didn't drink it as the liquid begins to melt away the mannequin's face. The mannequin flings himself to the floor, holding his face with two hands as his other hands begin to scurry him around the room like a twisted insect. Now is my chance to hightail it. I pick up the tape and run for the kitchen. The other dollies are too busy screeching in horror at their master. Entering the messy kitchen, I climb onto the rusted counter and begin to hammer away at the vent grid. With a clang it drops down. Alice! Again the mannequin screams, seems louder than before, and filled with malice. Crawling through the shaft I hear a tremendous thud that shakes the entire vent. Yet again that thing shouts my name, but I pause, as it seems to come from directly behind me. I hear bangs and scratches in the darkness, in the dark of the shaft. I can't see anything as I look back. Not that I need confirmation, as I can guess what is happening. The mannequin is following me, but now I am proved wrong as the vent ruptures upwards in front of me and in pours moonlight, along with burnt doll's face. Peekaboo, I found you. The mannequin screams in my face as he snarls at me. Screaming in terror, I react by smashing the mannequin in his charred face with the videotape until he finally removes his nasty head. There is only one way to go in this vent system, and that is forward. Scampering across the hall, I look through to see the mannequin rearing up, this time with outstretched hands. Hurrying along the vent shaft, I hear metal being bent and torn. Surely he isn't. I pick up my pace as I see light at what I hope is the end of the shaft. You're going to be my new dolly, Alice. I will kill you, you bitch. Sure enough, the mannequin has managed to get that body of his into the vent system. His hands and feet are drumming away on the metal as he pulls himself through. Judging by the sounds, he isn't far behind. Crawling towards the other vent grate, I bang against it. With not enough force in my hands to break it open, I turn around to kick it. Turning to face the other way, I can see the mannequin. His body barely fits inside the vent due to the enormous amounts of limbs he has attached onto himself. One huge kick and the grate falls. I crawl out and find myself back in the morgue, near to where I had killed Butch. The mannequin isn't stopping his chase anytime soon, as he rears his ugly head out the vent, followed by limbs and one torso. I thought spirits were confined to their individual rooms and not allowed to cross over salt lines. Then again, there was no salt line in the vent shaft. Did I just show this evil thing a way out? Get down! A man bursts through the morgue door, finger on trigger as he begins to unload round after round into the mannequin. And that ends chapter 15. Quite fast paced, and we meet Mannequin, who is one of my favourite characters so far, and I enjoyed very much creating him. And there isn't much left of the book. Yep, about 4 more chapters. About 4 more chapters and that finishes the book. I'm going to crack straight on with chapter 16 now. We are still with Alice, and the next chapter is titled Off to the Gallows. After what seems like an eternity, the crazy bearded man is still pressing the trigger, but nothing is coming out of the gun. Not a single shot had missed. Each one hit the mutilated mannequin. All of his plastic and flesh body parts have been torn to shreds by the bullets. There is no way the mannequin is a real person, so why is he laying motionless and scattered about the morgue? Can spirits be killed by guns now? The top torso of the mannequin is split away from the rest of the gargantuan body as a bearded lunatic had shot through the spine holding them together. Move away from it now, unless you want to be possessed. He's still rattling around in there somewhere, waiting for the perfect time to take over another person and mutilate their body to his own sick fetish, says the man as he drops the empty ammo clip and inserts another. I am already crouched down with hands over my ears, but now I find myself scrambling backwards until I hit the cold, dead body of Butch, the man I killed. Turning to see it, I can see that someone has torn off his head. The chainsaw has also been taken from the room. Getting to my feet, it's hard to believe that I'm still clutching the videotape and the keys tightly in my hands. Looking over at the man as he slowly walks towards me with the gun raised, I question him. I thought spirits can't cross salt lines or exit rooms. My head spins and my jaw rattles as a bearded man cracks me around the face with the butt of his gun. Pain shoots through my face and I can feel blood trickle down from my bottom lip as I fall to the floor, hitting the other side of my head hard. You seriously thought you could slip out from under my nose? You silly little whore, yells the man as he spits down on me and kicks me in the ribs. Then he snatches the keys and the video out of my hands. Count yourself lucky I don't just kill you. With a heavy clang, the man's chains and cuffs drop. Feeling like I may pass out, I try to remain focused as I watch the man leave the same way he came in. No doubt he's going to the rec room. If the video is anything like mine, then his next destination will be the same as mine, the gallows. I have to get there before him. Gradually getting to my feet, I stand silent as I hear scratch-like noises. Looking for what is making the noise, I see a plastic hand twitching and its fingers moving. All three of them, since the others have been blown off. The mannequin's face is shot to bits and goo is coming out of it. Continuing to stare, watching disbelief as its only remaining eye flips open and begins to scan the surroundings. Holy shit, he really is still alive. Not sticking around, I bolt in the other direction, hopefully before he has a chance to see me. No sooner do I exit through the refrigerated plastic tassels, or groans and crawling sounds heard. He's still fucking after me. Unlike before, I need to head in the direction of the most noise to find the gallows, or at least that is my current way of thinking. Benny will be there too, hopefully alive, but what can I do to save him from the bagheads? Roars of laughter and what can only be described as a girl screaming in fits of pleasure can be heard in the distance. Surely it cannot be that easy to find the gallows. Following the noises down the dark passageways, I notice a rusty sign, barely clinging to the arched ceiling, gives direction to the gardens, offices and medical rooms. Right now there is no need for directions. I can feel the cold air blowing from down the hall, and I can smell fresh air. As I continue down, the mannequin's scurrying noise is still present in my ears. It's faint, but still there. He's indeed following me, albeit slowly. Yesterday was filled with so many horrors around every turn, but today feels different. The halls feel empty. Me and Benny were the only ones in the safe zone, so maybe everyone is dead after all. Finding the source of fresh air, I come upon a set of double glass doors. One of the 4 panels has been smashed, yet the others remain intact. I wonder since every other window has been stripped bare. Metal cans dangle on string around the framework of the door, a warning system perhaps. A loud groan comes from behind me. The mannequin has caught up quicker than I thought it would. Only way to go now is forward, just like the vent. Trying my best to avoid the cans, I duck down and step through the smashed panel. My foot quickly shoots up off the floor as I feel pain. Glass shards are everywhere. The long downward slanted corridor I now stand in is covered with broken glass, tacks and needles. This is going to be painful. My only solace is that the lights are on, so I can try my best to avoid the majority of it. Walls that were once white are now covered in graffiti, and I can't even lean on them for support, as they too are covered in all manner of spiky objects, mostly nails. To add to the hell, there is also dozens of cano arms hanging off the tiled ceiling and objects scattered all over the corridor like shopping trolleys. Another groan comes from behind me, this one sounding as if he's next to me. Up on my tiptoes, I glance back to see a torso and half a head attempting to crawl through the crack in the door. The mannequin's one eye is focused on me. With a gulp, I start to move forward. The corridor isn't too long and has no doors at the end. It just leads out into darkness. Every step I take, I feel glass shards or bits of needle dig into my flesh, dig into my feet. Soon enough, I am leaving bloodied footprints as I push forward. It takes time to press on due to the pain, but what will happen to me if the monster behind me catches me? And if it isn't, and it isn't as if the mannequin is feeling any pain as he steadily drags himself through all of it. By the time I finally make it to the end, it appears that I have stood on every damn object in the hall, and I am still left plucking needles out of my feet. Whatever is in them is making me feel nauseous and dizzy, or maybe that is the blood loss. I had done nothing but focus on getting to the other side of this infernal corridor, so I stood on more than I should have. So far I have kept a good distance from the mannequin, mainly because he is tangled up in an overturned trolley. Exiting the corridor onto a gravel path, I can make out fires in the distance. 7 or so barrels are burning brightly, lighting up a huge part of the overgrown gardens where the gallows stand. Some kind of show is being performed on the wooden stage, but from a distance I can't see well enough to know what is truly going on. There are quite a few people over there though. All of them must be bagheads. More cannon arms hang off the trees as I make my way into the dense small jungle. Even though I am outside, I still feel like a caged rat as towering prison-like walls surround the gardens on all sides. Hiding behind a tree as I hear shuffling and groaning, I peek out to watch as a mannequin slithers out the corridor. It seems he has freed himself. Praying that he has no idea where I am, I watch in relief as he slithers off along the path. The noise must have attracted him. Perhaps now he will look for another victim. Give it to me, you fucker! That's it! That's the spot. Right fucking there. Keep going, screams a girl in a fit of wild pleasure. That voice, however, sounds like my daughter Becky. What on earth is she up to? Creeping through the dense bush and around rotting trees, I find a spot where I can observe the gallows and see everything clearly. Surrounding it are cheering men and women, dressed in all manner of rags, sacks, and masks. They are cheering a pretty young blonde who is saddling a tied down and gagged man. He looks like he is in his mid-40s. His black short hair is scruffy and his face is drenched in sweat. Even though he is in a position of pleasure, he looks scared to death. Is Becky raping this man? Becky continues to grind whilst going up and down on the filthy man. Every couple of seconds she shouts disgusting remarks at him while slapping and punching his face. Even with a creepy gas mask covering half her face, I can tell it is my Becky. That gas mask is the one Butch was wearing. Becky must have gone back and swiped it. Perhaps she took his head too. 2 naked male bodies lay awkwardly in front of the gallows, not moving. One of them has stab wounds through the throat. On the gallows at the back is a line of more naked men, 6 in total, and one of them is Benny. He looks terrified. All of them are tied up with rope cuffs and torn clothes have been shoved into their mouths. Another familiar person is also on the stage, the man with the red demon mask. Pass me the knife, yells Becky. The guy she has straddled begins to shake in fits of fear. A large army knife is placed into Becky's outstretched hand as she smiles. The man with the demon mask steps away from Becky after handing her the blade. Now then, if you don't... Oh, that's it. Becky screams for a moment in pleasure. If you... Oh God, that feels so fucking good. If you stop within the next 60 seconds, I'm going... Oh God, I'm going to kill you. Becky tries to steady the knife above the man's throat, whilst the crowd starts to cheer and begin a countdown. As the twisted porn charade continues, Becky screams louder as the guy in the demon mask approaches her and begins twisting her right nipple. 50 seconds pass. by and the crowd start the final 10 count. From 10 to 0, the guy tries to keep himself going whilst buckets of sweat drip from him. As the count hits 0, Becky drives the knife downwards with force. And that ends chapter 16. And now we get a look into Becky and Alice's realization that maybe she isn't the sweet and innocent daughter that she believed. Earlier on, we pick up that she has a serial killer name by the name of Rose. Perhaps all these drama classes she was taking helped further her killing career. In the next coming up chapters, we may get to see who is behind the mask and maybe who else is running the show. As we can definitely see, Becky has Butch's mask, so technically she is now in control of those bagheads. They are hers to control, and they believe her to be the one that killed Butch, which isn't true. Technically, Alice should be the one in control of the bagheads, but not knowing the ongoings of the prison, not knowing the ongoings of the asylum and the hierarchy and the way things work, she looked out massively. She could have had an army of idiots and psychopaths. Right, I am going to leave that there, and I think there is 3 chapters left, so in the next video I'll do 17, 18 and 19, and we will finish the first Warden book, get that all done. And I do have a new edition on its way, so I will be doing a full audio run through of the new book, and I'll do that in one sitting and get through it all in one go, so people can just listen to the entire thing in just one video. Thank you guys for watching. As usual, please leave a like, comment on anything that I could improve on. I need to improve anyway, but comments on anything you can think of. Yeah, thank you. Take care.